It will happen to you soon. You'll be in a clinic or a hospital surrounded by other students and a professor. As a case is being discussed, the professor will look right at you and ask you a question. If you keep your cool and remember what you studied, you might get it right. You'll then think that you're in the clear, but he'll keep pushing. He'll ask you additional, more difficult questions. With each correct answer you offer, he'll push to a higher degree of complexity. In the end, you'll crash and burn in front of everyone. It's tradition. In medicine and dentistry, we call it pimping. Pimping is the long-observed practice, probably dating back to Socrates, of teaching by questioning, and sometimes by fear and humiliation. Because we fear pimping, we try to have our brains filled and our presentations organized. But no matter how prepared you think you are, you can always be tripped up. There's always something that they know and you don't. Jesus Christ faced a similar, although more deadly version of the same process. Jesus burst on the scene, seemingly from nowhere. He possessed supernatural powers to heal the sick and disabled. He raised the dead. He demonstrated complete power over the forces of evil. Unlike the other teachers of his day, Jesus' preaching was powerful and completely authoritative. He relentlessly confronted religious hypocrisy at the highest levels. The religious leaders of his time were unwilling to recognize Jesus for who he was. After all, he had no formal theological training. He had not apprenticed under a prominent rabbi. He wasn't part of the established religious system, but rather seemed to attack it. For the Pharisees and Sadducees, it was as if a first-year medical student had marched into surgery grand rounds and publicly told the professors that they were practicing their profession in a mistaken and dangerous way. Who did Jesus think he was? They decided they had to discredit Jesus. They first tried to slander him. They accused him of being a drunkard and a glutton. They said he was demon-possessed. They called him a liar and a Samaritan. They pointed out that he was conceived before his parents were married. None of it stuck. They next tried to challenge him with difficult questions and seemingly insoluble dilemmas. Should we pay taxes to our Roman oppressors or not? Should we stone a woman but not a man caught in adultery? What if a woman is married multiple times? Whose wife will she be in heaven? In every case, their attempts to trap or embarrass Jesus failed. Instead, he turned their questions back on them, exposing their ignorance or their sinfulness. During one of their attacks, found in Mark chapter 12, a teacher of the law asked Jesus this crucial question: of all the commandments, which is the most important? The questioner was intimately familiar with the whole Old Testament. He knew all about the laws given by Moses, all the ceremonial and sacrificial services, the admonitions of the prophets. This religious expert wanted to know what Jesus thought was the most central issue. Jesus answered with a passage from Deuteronomy chapter 6. The most important one is this: Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. Consider all the things that Jesus didn't mention in his answer. He didn't say that it was most important to study the scriptures, or to go to the temple every week. He didn't say that it was most important to offer sacrifices to God, although they were certainly commanded. He didn't mention learning theology or following a code of ethical rules. He didn't say it was most important to serve the poor or to become a missionary. All those are admirable, but the most important thing, according to Jesus, is to love God with everything that you are, all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Is that so hard? Of course it's hard. It's impossible. Because we already love someone else with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength. Like the mythological figure Narcissus, we love ourselves. Because we love ourselves, we spend too much time in front of the mirror. Because we love ourselves, we put too much energy into our hair, our teeth, our bodies. We concern ourselves with clothes and our cars and how we look in them. We spend hours in the gym or on the track. Because we love ourselves, we have ambitious professional and family goals, often with only passing consideration given to God and His kingdom. Because we love ourselves, we spend more money on coffee and cable TV than we do meeting the needs of our less fortunate neighbors.